Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Victor Pham, realtor with Keller Williams. Hey, if you think about it, no matter where you live, there's always going to be some positive and some not so positive things about living in that area. So in this video, I'm going to go over the positives and the negatives to living in Cincinnati. That's right, I'm going to give you a complete guide to all the pros and all the cons to living right here in the Cincinnati area. At least as many as I can possibly think of.
Hit me with your best shot.
So whether you've been thinking about relocating to Cincinnati or the Southwest Ohio area, or maybe you're just curious about what the city might have to offer in comparison to other places, stick around. I'm going to give you all the information you need right now. Alright, so if you don't know, I've been in the Cincinnati area pretty much my whole life. Over the last 10 to 15 years, it's become a very desirable place to live and visit for many reasons. So let's start with the pros first. Pro number one is affordability. Now, how much you're going to spend relative to how much you're actually going to make is probably the biggest factor in how comfortable of a lifestyle you will have. According to BusinessInsider.com, Cincinnati has been ranked #1 for renters living alone for the last 4 years in a row. So from 2017 to 2021, it's been considered the best place to live if you are a solo renter. And you can see some of what they say right here. Cincinnati claimed the top spot for the 4th year in a row. Average rent for one-bedroom unit is $612 per month, the 5th lowest of the 100 cities that they studied. Also mentions the unemployment rate at 4.6%, which is actually, I believe, is a lot lower as of now. There's been a really high demand for rental units with everything going on, but what about owning a home? Increased home prices have been another effect of COVID-19, as a lot of us have experienced. Realtor.com says the average home listing price in Cincinnati as of November 2021 was about $219,000. That's about $190,000 cheaper than the national average of $410,000. In Dallas, Texas, it was $420,000. Phoenix, Arizona, $430,000. Minneapolis, $290,000. Charleston, South Carolina, $420,000. Philadelphia, $260,000. Seattle, $750,000. So prices can vary greatly as you move across different states, but Cincinnati is definitely on the lower end of that spectrum.
Yeah, boy!
Pro number two is employment. Employment is also a huge part of the quality of your lifestyle. Again, COVID-19 has impacted our workforce so much and forced us to make so many adjustments to how we continue to grow, make money, and expand as an economy. The national unemployment rate post-2021 was 4.2%, which is a huge improvement since COVID began. This PDF is directly from the Department of Labor Statistics. November 2020 compared to November 2021. You see the average of the national unemployment rate was 6.4%. In Cincinnati, it was significantly lower than that, almost 2%. Hamilton County, where Cincinnati is, lower than that. And you can see as the national average increased, so did Cincinnati significantly and stayed well under that. So that's a good sign. Now, availability of jobs plays a big role in why this number is so low. Cincinnati shares a state border with northern Kentucky, which provides many jobs for Ohio residents commuting to work in Kentucky. You can see right here how close Cincinnati is to Kentucky. Here's Cincinnati right here. And all these are Amazon facilities, whether it's a fulfillment center or a hub or a prime center. They got so many facilities back and forth. Actually, I don't even think all of them are on this map. I just pulled it up, but they got a ton of them, thousands of jobs. A lot of people have located closer to these areas when these facilities were built. Check this out also, Cincinnati Business Courier. They list some of the top employers in the Cincinnati tri-state area. Look at Kroger right here, 18,000 employees. Cincinnati Children's Hospital right behind them, almost 17,000 employers. Tri-Health, so a lot of employment in healthcare, education. Looks like they're only showing the top 5 on here. They want me to subscribe to see all 25, but so there's an abundance of job opportunities all within a manageable distance of Cincinnati. It actually seems like every time I go outside, I'm seeing different or new businesses just popping up out of nowhere. So if you're willing to work, there is something here for you.
I got many jobs. I'm a cop, I'm a doctor, I'm a pilot. Don't believe me? I can fly a helicopter. I got many jobs. I'm a firefighter.
Pro number 3 is schools. Now, I can attest to this. I have been blessed to have been in some pretty decent school districts growing up. I feel like the area has always provided some of the best public and private education that you can find. When I'm thinking about comparing schools, I always end up on niche.com for some reason. I love this site. If you search best school districts in the entire state of Ohio, look what pops up first. Indian Hill School District, right in Cincinnati, is #1 on the list in the entire state of Ohio. That's awesome. Let's see if anybody else is on this list. Sycamore Community School District in Blue Ash, Ohio. It's about 30 minutes outside of Cincinnati. That's awesome. Look, number 9 on the list, Mason City School District in Mason, Ohio, which is also right outside of Cincinnati. So you have multiple schools on the top 10 list in the entire state of Ohio that are in the Cincinnati area. There's also a ton of options if you're thinking about college education. The greater Cincinnati area has some of the most accredited colleges in the nation. You have UC, the University of Cincinnati, who also offers a law school and a medical school. The University of Xavier, which is a private school but very renowned college, known for its sciences and liberal arts. They also have a very well-known medical school. And then of course you have my alma mater, NKU, or Northern Kentucky University. Yes, I live in Cincinnati, but I went to school in Kentucky, and somehow now I'm a realtor. And real estate has nothing to do with what I studied in college, but it was a great experience and I learned a lot. Go Norse. Pro number 4 is medicine. Yes, medicine. You know, a lot of people don't talk about this one much, but your health is very important. Did you know this? Cincinnati Children's Hospital has been ranked amongst the top hospitals in the nation for the last decade. Top 5 hospitals nationally. And you can see on their website, they have some of their rankings of each departments and how they rank nationally. It's actually common for people to travel from all over the world to come visit Cincinnati Children's Hospitals because of their specialties and what they have to offer to the medical field. So the medical field is a pretty big deal here. Right in the vicinity of Children's Hospital, you have the Christ Hospital, another nationally recognized hospital, UC Medical, well known for its medical studies, Shriners Hospital right there next to Children's. I mean, this actually correlates back to employment, as we previously talked about. If you're in the medical field or plan on being in the medical field, there's really no shortage of jobs for you here, especially in the midst of COVID-19. It's like the medical field is just exploding with more and more demand. Number 5 is sports. First Major League Baseball team. Who was it? If you're a baseball fan, you know. Cincinnati Reds. Been here since 1869. Real big fan base, beautiful stadium in the heart of downtown Cincinnati. You've also got the UC Bearcats, big time college football and basketball team. Xavier Musketeers, known for their basketball team. Oh, and don't forget little old NKU basketball team. Very fast growing Division I men's basketball club. And one of my favorites, FC Cincinnati, Cincinnati's professional soccer team. I've been inside the brand new facility they just opened up. That's me right there with my Eskimo hat. It was a little chilly that day. We all know soccer is a big international sport, but I was actually surprised to find out how big of a fan base we had in Cincinnati when it came to soccer. Okay, that's pretty much all we have to offer as far as sports, I think. Oh wait, no, we also have the Cincinnati Bengals. Hooray! 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 Can't forget about the Bengals, right? Pretty hot team right now. It's a good time to be a Bengals fan if you are. Very young, very talented team. Just a really fun team to watch right now if you're a football fan in general. Hooray! 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 Okay, pro number 6 is development. The city and its developers have spent millions and millions of dollars over the last couple decades to make Cincinnati a more attractive, fun, and safe place to live for residents and a cool place just to visit in general. Downtown is transformed to offer a plethora of dining options as well as nightlife. You got the banks right there by the river if you want to grab a drink or some good food or spend some time with the family at Smale Park. Development is constantly occurring in and around the city, which is important to maintaining a healthy and thriving local economy. Okay, so what are some of the negatives? I talked a lot about all the positive things about living in Cincinnati, but every city has its negatives, right? This is the real world. Nothing is beautiful all the time. Here are a few things that I think might be a drawback to living in or moving to Cincinnati.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
All right, number 1 is taxes. Now, there are 9 states where employees are not taxed on their income and 5 states that don't have sales tax. Ohio is not on either one of those lists, so Cincinnati area residents do pay both income and sales tax. Take a look at some of the sales tax comparisons as we go state to state. This is taxfoundation.org. Ohio is right here. Looks like about a little over 7%. So there's some higher ones in there. Alabama at the top of the list, Arizona, California is obviously higher, I'm guessing New York would be too. It's not amongst the lowest, but it's definitely not amongst the highest, so you're gonna have those state taxes. Here's a neat little tax calculator I found. Like I said, Cincinnati is in Hamilton County. I believe this is pretty accurate. Last I checked on the auditor's site, 1.8% tax rate on property taxes. Now, we said the average home value was $219,000 in Cincinnati. So on a $219,000 house, about $3,900 annually. They may be basing this off the more expensive areas. Your property taxes can vary greatly depending on which community you're in. So These numbers can be a lot lower than that or higher. So you're going to have those sales tax, you're going to have those income tax, but in my opinion, the taxes are going to good places. Like we discussed about the continual growth and development of the infrastructure of the city. All right, con number 2 is the weather. There's sort of a running joke with Cincinnati residents that you got to pretty much be prepared for any kind of weather, any day of the week. And it's crazy, but it's true. It can literally be 80 degrees one day and then the next day it's snowing. Like literally 80 to snowing. This can really throw you off if you're moving from somewhere where you're used to warm weather all year long. For the most part, this is a seasonal region. We get 4 seasons: summer, fall, winter, and spring. Summers we can get really extreme temperatures, and in the wintertime it can get below 0 and bring a lot of snow and sometimes ice and just really messy, nasty stuff. Now, I don't really mind the snow so much, but the occasional icy road can trip you up a little bit. So just know, living in Cincinnati, you're going to have to adjust for weather quite often. Con number 3 is public transportation. Now, Cincinnati does have the Metro, which is the public bus system that goes through most parts of the city and on some of the outskirts of the city. But outside of that, that's it. There's no intricate subway system that flows throughout the city like in a bigger place like New York. So if you're moving from a bigger city and you're relying on public transportation, you might find it a little bit challenging to adjust to. The traffic does have its moments, but for the most part, driving in Cincinnati is manageable. Outside of the downtown area, which is the hardest place to find parking, it's usually pretty easy to find a place to park, and it's usually free, unless you're parking at a garage or a meter or something like that. Uber and Lyft are pretty accessible here, and a lot of people use those means, especially if they're going downtown, so they don't have to mess with all that parking stuff. Okay, so we talked about a bunch of things that Cincinnati has to offer. What were some of the pros? You have affordability, abundance of employment, good schools, medicine, sports, and development. On the con side, you have those taxes that you're going to have to pay, inclement weather, and limited public transportation if you're relocating from a big city. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I really hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions about real estate or just questions about Cincinnati in general, shoot me a text or an email. All my contact information is in the description. If you want to stay updated on content like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.